Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in this world. And hello to you there, Stephen, in the beautiful state of Mississippi. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right, Raz. How you been doing, my friend?
I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm here yet again for another episode of AEW 5-year or 5-year review with you, of course. Last night we watched episode 34 from Dynamite. Obviously, last week we did episode 1, and this week we did episode 34. This one's a bit of an interesting one because it is inside the COVID era. It's going to be interesting to see what we both picked up from it. But we start the show, and this is not a Wednesday night show either.
No, it was like a Thursday night or Saturday night. Actually.
No, this was a Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah, this was one of the times that they were preempted, and they moved across to a different day. There was this one, and episode 35 was on a Thursday as well. So they moved 2 dates back to back. This one we have a lot to go over. There is it's if you were to rate it out of 5, what would you rate it?
What, the episode of Dynamite?
Yeah,
about 3.5 out of 5.
3.5. Yep, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, looking back at it now, that's probably roughly what I would have rated it as well. We do have, just so everybody's aware, at this time we have Cody Rhodes as the TNT champion. We have Kenny Omega and Adam Page as the tag team champions. We also have Jon Moxley as the world heavyweight champion at this point in time. So this is the build to All Out 2019. No, 2020. Sorry, 2020, not 2019.
Yeah,
yep, so we're in the build to All Out for this episode. We obviously get our pyro and our intro video to start the show, and then we go to our first match of the night, which is this match right here, FTR versus Private Party, just with Tully Blanchard as the ring management for FTR.
Yeah.
Thoughts, feelings, what you think of what was happening?
Match. I enjoyed the match. FDR really does kind of remind you of Tully and Arn. That type of mentality in that tag team.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I totally seasoned that team.
Yeah, this was at a time when FTR were playing the heels. They were fairly new to the company at the time. They'd had about 6 matches, and they were on a 6-0 winning streak at this point.
And they had a run in WWE too.
Yeah, they'd been quite new to the company and were just starting to get in. One thing to notice is that you do have FTR wearing their red here and the Private Party wearing black and pink as well. And what is noted here also from commentary team is that Private Party is under the tutelage of Matt Hardy at the time, and this is obviously well before Jeff gets into the company. So, definitely a showcase match here, I believe. I find that it was a showcase for both FTR and Private Party. Private Party obviously showcasing their not flippiness, but their flexibility in the ring and being able to work with different teams.
Well, they're kind of a rookie tag team, aren't they? Private Party back in that
They
day.
were, yeah.
They're just young,
FTR were working as your standard, or as FTR were produced then, they were being produced as the tag team generals, like the standard tag team sort of thing. We had them as they don't do flips. They're just there to be the old school generic tag team that goes up.
Yeah. They just hit hard and they just wrestle.
Yeah.
You all right?
Sorry about that.
All right, buddy.
As Alex says, no flips, all fists. Yeah. So that's exactly what FTR were produced as at this time.
A quick question, if I may, Raz.
Sure.
What do you think of the Daly's place? It's like it's a very unusual venue for it's like not even 5,000 people, I think it seats.
So Daly's place was the arena where we held COVID shows. Originally, we had them at the Nightmare Factory.
Mm-hmm.
We had them running out of the Nightmare Factory. That was where the original place was. But then Tony Khan already had access to Daly's place. So why the fuck not use it? And honestly, I think it's a great venue.
The seating looks different. The front row's like higher up.
Yeah. I think that the fact that you can have a smaller crowd there, and it still feels like it still feels like a big show, is a good thing. Like you can have small crowds there, you can have them be that sort of environment where you have hardly any people. And at this time, this is where AEW was producing segments, and there was no fans there. The only fans that were there were the AEW wrestlers who were either A, weren't working the show, or B, had a later on segment in the show.
Or they might have already wrestled at AEW Dark at the time.
Yeah, because we were filming Dark, and we were filming Dark Elevation and stuff at this time as well. So this was well before Rampage existed and well before Collision existed as well. So winners of the match is FTR with their manager. I put manager in quotation marks because obviously that doesn't last long term. So
I think it didn't last long. I think it lasted like not even several months.
It lasted a couple of months, but not too many. FTR win the match with the Shatter Machine, taking them to 7-0 at this point in time.
I think Tully was there before the Pinnacle, so
it was the start of the Pinnacle. I think I'm pretty sure it was the start of the Pinnacle and stuff like that, or just after the Pinnacle, because they do in a later promo they do mention the Pinnacle, but I don't really pay attention to it. We next go to an earlier video package of Jon Moxley looking a lot younger than he currently does, and it's only been 5 years. And he's obviously talking to MJF because his opponent at All Out is MJF.
He has hair.
He has hair. Obviously hadn't shaved it.
What's up, Jake?
Oh, there you go. It lasted until the breakup of the Pinnacle.
Yep.
It's because of the hair. Yes. And hello, Jake. Thank you for coming along as well.
Well, not only that, though, he had to quit drinking and he's lost some weight, too. So,
yeah. If you look at that photo, he's actually put weight on since that photo. But I think he's bulked up since that image.
But did he have a little beer belly until you started?
Yeah. The next segment we go to I believe a commercial break, and then we come back from the commercial break, and it's MJF in his suit alongside Wardlow and Mark Sterling, who is playing the attorney. Basically,
you know what's so funny about this segment? This blonde-haired woman behind MJF, she hasn't even moved a muscle, and she just got that smile on her face and doesn't even look at the camera. They're all like statues.
Yeah. They're all pretty much standing there. MJF is talking about how he's been injured by Moxley, which is why he's wearing the neck brace. And that's what essentially Mark Sterling's doing there. Mark Sterling's there because we are trying to get a petition up to ban the paradigm shift because they claimed it as one of the most dangerous moves in wrestling at the time.
We know how that worked out.
Yeah. Hi, C. Henry. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. Okay, so that's pretty much the first 25 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
We then move on to our next section, which is our second match of the night, which is this right here. It is an 8-man tag team match. You've got the Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, also known as the Natural Nightmares.
That tag team is really a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon the pun. But.
The Lucha Brothers generally start this match before the bell rings. They all brawl. I do have to say, during this match, one of the worst Canadian destroyers I've ever seen is attempted.
I agree.
Like Jack Perry would say, go cry me a river. And speaking of Jack Perry, there he is. Yes. A little baby Jack Perry back in the day before he pissed off to Japan and became a scapegoat. We get Jungle Boy getting the win for his team, and all in all, just a showcase match. It was
I don't think it was that great of a match, in my opinion, but
it wasn't anything super fantastic. It wasn't anything to write home about.
It's like a filler.
It did showcase a lot of the talent that they had available at the time, and that you put in the ring. You've Mr. Chambers' hometown guy, Marco Stunt.
Actually, Marco Stunt lives about 10 miles. I live 10 miles from Olive Branch, Mississippi. I live in South Haven, so
there you go. You're still close.
And he was there on Collision, wrestled Jack Perry. I was there to watch that in person.
Remember, he didn't piss off. He was suspended. Yeah. I'll give you that. It's like when you were in school and you got internally suspended. It meant you couldn't go home, but you had to stay, but you couldn't go to your classes either. Stupid. So Jack Perry wins. After that, we get Eddie Kingston coming out because Butcher and Blade and Ray Phoenix have had an argument, and Eddie Kingston comes out. He's basically talks about them being on the Indies, calls them out, both teams out for not being the tag champs yet, and basically tries to reunite them.
It was a short-lived alliance, if my memory serves me right. So
I think there was a nod to that when he gets them to hug and he does the wink to the camera. And then they walk in the next day and they do nothing. You're not wrong. There you go. It was like a month. Like a month between those. This was Lucha Brothers obviously showcasing what they can do as well. Which we all knew they were fantastic. We all knew they were fucking good. It was just AEW showcasing them at the time. After that, we go to a promo of Britt Baker in a gym, which I believe is probably somewhere in Daly's place, with Penelope Ford and a young Kip Sabian,
what he looked like now today compared to what he looked like there in that picture.
A very, very different looking Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian looks like he's put on a fuck ton of muscle and like good that he's grown his hair out.
There in that Britt Baker.
Yep. We had Rebel as well. They were basically, asking for Penelope Ford's help and assistance because Britt Baker was going against Big Swole at this time, and that was the feud that was going. So you had Britt Baker versus Big Swole. Penelope Ford was getting involved with that, and one of the ways that they wanted to do it was that Rebel would give free makeup to Penelope for Penelope's help.
Yeah.
Average segment, it was meh for what it was. Starring Britt Baker with special guest Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And then there's Rebel. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Where are we next? Sorry, I'm trying to find all the pictures and stuff at the same time. Okay. Next segment, we've got Orange Cassidy coming out to the ring. This is in the era where he's beaten Jericho. Jericho's beaten him. They are facing off. They're feuding. And we're building to the big match. Jericho or Cassidy comes out with best friends. Tony Schiavone tries to interview him. He doesn't get to say anything and even then Jericho comes out. Trent looks young. Orange Cassidy looks like Orange Cassidy.
He looks the same.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy looks the same. We then get Jericho coming out to the ring or to the entrance, and we get the announcement of this match, the one that everybody loves. The Jericho versus Orange Cassidy Mimosa Mayhem match at All Out, which will be held at Daly's Place. And this was when Jericho was like, he was bragging about how he had created the Money in the Bank ladder match and came up with this new idea for Mimosa Mayhem because Jericho was all about the bubbly and Orange Cassidy was all about orange juice.
Boy, they sure love that bubbly, don't they?
Yeah. Also at this time, Orange Cassidy was one of only 3 people who had actually pinned Jericho at this time in AEW. So he was among an elite group at that point in time. Orange Cassidy accepts with a thumbs up. And then obviously we get the Inner Circle coming out and surrounding the ring. They cheers Orange Cassidy, but end up turning around and attacking. And then to end that segment, we get Orange Cassidy being held upside down by Sammy Guevara and one of the guys, I think it's Santana, that's holding him upside down. And Jericho and the rest of them are pouring the bubbly.
It looks like Santana and Jake Hager or Santana Ortiz 1-2.
Yeah. He came up with Money in the Bank but couldn't win it. That's true. He never won the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he never will. If he does, there's a problem.
Never say never, though. Never say never with WWE. Just being, never know.
Yeah. Next section we go to after that is to the Dark Order match. It's a 6-man match. We've got the Dark Order. We've got Alan Angels, John Silver, and
Alex Reynolds.
Yes, Alex Reynolds as well. We've got all 3 of them taking on the Elite, also known as Kenny and the Young Bucks.
The most cheesiest ring entrance song. The Elite. The Elite.
The Elite. Yeah. It seems obviously he loses more matches he comes up with. And you know what? I'm not going to complain about that because even though you're the creator and you lose the match, it doesn't mean it's a bad match.
No.
The Money in the Bank ladder match was a good thing. Is it overused? Is it overused these days? I believe so. I don't think it should be the way it is, but that's a whole different story arc that we're not going to really go into right now. No, this was not the Super Kick Party entrance. This was the Elite entrance.
Elite.
Yeah, that entrance. Yes.
That's all they say in that song.
As you can see, Kenny is wearing the World Tag Team Championship at the time because he was the Tag Team Champion alongside the Hangman.
Yeah, Hangman, yeah.
This match is actually a really solid match. It's a really, really good showing for Dark Order because at this time, in this era, we've got Dark Order as a strong stable.
Yeah,
and the Elite are just the Elite. They're exactly that. They're the best of the best, and this was where everybody loved them. At one stage, Kenny gets hit in the head with a chair. By the end of the match, Kenny hits a one-winged angel, grabs a chair and goes to powerbomb Alan Angels through it, but the Bucks move the chair out of the way. So this is the start of a Kenny getting angry sort of heel face sort of thing. I don't see Jericho being in Money Bank ladder matches anytime soon. He's 53 years old.
Well, you never know. Ric Flair wrestled in his 60s. So.
And we also had the Hardys come back and win the titles in a fucking ladder match. How's Money in the Bank overused? It's held every year like the Rumble winner. Exactly, Axel. It's overused. It should be the way I look at it is you have it maybe you don't necessarily need it every year, and you don't need a pay-per-view dedicated to it. You have it on a pay-per-view like it used to be, like WrestleMania. That's my thoughts. Well, Goldberg won a title in his 60s. Yes, he did, and we're not going to talk about that because that's wrong.
Actually, Goldberg is not 60. He's 57 right now.
Close enough. After the match with the Elite, we go backstage to Alex Marvez, who is with FTR and Tully, talking about a tag team title gauntlet, which FTR is going to be involved in. FTR confirms that they are with Tully and want the tag belts. Hangman comes in and is a bit shitty at FTR, but FTR tries to convince him that he will be put in the background once him and Kenny lose the tag titles.
Yeah, they were complaining about Ricky Morton.
Yeah,
say that Ricky Morton disrespected them and all that, and they double power driven him.
He looks 60, so you can round it up. Yes, there you go.
Well, you have to admit, though, he looks in great shape, 60 years old. So,
for sure,
60.
For sure. Our next section is the next match, which is Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs. Darby Allin gets into the ring and kick starts the match. Quite literally, as you can see from this picture, he drop kicks Will Hobbs literally straight after he gets in the ring.
I'm so pissed off at this match.
You were pissed off at it? Why?
Well, it's pretty well documented. I am not a big Darby fan. And Darby finished Will Hobbs just like that. It absolutely irritates the crap out of me.
That Will Hobbs face.
A 300-pound guy lose to like not even a 150-pound guy.
I think that at that point in time, yes, it was wrong. The way they did it with Brody King on the pay-per-view, that was the right way to do it.
Yeah.
When Darby won. Because you had him beat him down first. I know. I wonder who lost the other matches like that. So Darby ends up winning this match via the coffin drop. Taz gets on the mic and says he's got his own Darby as part of his team, which turns out to be Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks and Brian Cage attack Darby from behind. Ricky Starks turns around and tells him that he doesn't need to wear face paint, blah, blah, blah. All that shit. You mean Drew McIntyre off Wish?
Well, I can name a bunch of wrestlers, Alex, that Darby beat. It's Samoa Joe's in one, and there's who else? Well, Hobbs, and my Brian Cage is another one. Brody.
Yeah. So after this match, we go to a commercial break / picture-in-picture, where we get Sammy Guevara coming out with the cue cards. We then go into a fully commercial break. As we come back, or just before we've gone into that commercial break, Matt Hardy's come out, hit Sammy Guevara with the chair. And when we come back, he's still beating the crap out of him.
Beating the dog crap out of him is what he...
This is because Sammy Guevara has busted Matt Hardy open with a chair previously. This is the point where Sammy had busted Matt Hardy open. After we have come back from the commercial break, Sammy Guevara gets thrown through a table. As you can see right here, that's him laid out on a ringside table. Thoughts, feelings?
Not really. It's, hey, DM, we don't put up such bad language around in this chat.
Get fucked. We talk all shit. We talk a lot of shit here, and it's a thing. Did I know? There it is. Okay, next up we have a special match, which at this time, or actually the next section is Thunder Rosa, who at this time was the NWA Women's World Champion. She does a video package. And then we go to the next match of the night, which was this one here, the Nightmare Sisters of Ali and Brandy versus Ivelisse and Diamante for the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup. I have to say it, for me, the women in this era were better than some of what we've got now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sad thing that some of these women no longer work for the company.
Well, I know Diamante's still hanging in there. She's in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And I know about Ivelisse. I think her contract ran out. And Bunny decided to hang it up. She's no longer wrestling. The same goes with Brandy.
I'm sad that we don't have Ivelisse. And
she's a good talent. I remember her back in Lucha Underground.
Yeah. And they turn out to be the winners of this match. Diamante and Ivelisse end up being the winners of this match. The person who came out to present them the cup was Medusa. She doesn't end up saying anything, doesn't end up actually doing anything, which you'd think she would. They go on about their heritage and how they're from like Puerto Rico or Mexico or somewhere outside.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so, and that's that. Whatever happened to the no DM? You're pushing your luck on that one.
CE, hell no.
Or does he mean the CEO Brandy, the CEO version of Brandy?
Oh, gotcha.
Who knows? Okay, we are at the.
Sorry, throw you off guard there.
No, that's fine. We are actually at the hot point of this show, the hottest point of the show by far. and a shot and a match that is just insane. It is insane. Yeah, Brandy. She changed monikers like she changed her underwear. She changed her gimmick like she changed her underwear. 1 minute she's a heel, 1 minute she's a face, 1 minute she's Cody's wife, next minute she's bloody in the Nightmare Sisters. She didn't know where she fit. I believe that was the cup that Eddie Guerrero's daughter was the ring announcer for. Yes, you are correct.
That's Joel Guerrero.
Yeah, she was the ring announcer for that match, and it's the only time we ever see her.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
I think she was the ring announcer for a little bit for Lucha Underground. I think, wasn't she?
I think so.
No, it's Melissa Santos. I think 1 to 2.
Yeah. Now, this is the match where we get the Exalted One, Brodie Lee. Look at that look at that. He like
it looks like they picture of Raz. Bald there.
The Exalted One versus Cody Rhodes, and Cody is accompanied by Arn Anderson with the TNT title. This is obviously a TNT title match. This is technically Cody's 9th defense of the title. Look at that luscious beard. You are not wrong. It was a very, very luscious beard. So this is Cody's 9th title defense. We have some Cody tries to start strong on this. Being the key word. But we get straight out of the corner, leading to this fucking beautiful move of a drop kick from Brodie Lee. An absolute fucking brutal move. It was something that you don't see from too many big men.
Nope.
Yeah. This led to pretty much Cody being dominated and manhandled for 99.5% of the match.
He gets Cody to the woodshed.
Yep, he gets thrown outside. He gets booted over the rail. Brodie just dominates, completely destroys. We then get the pinfall after a couple of power bombs and the clothesline, Brodie Lee's clothesline. We get this pinfall, which is 1, 2, 3. Your winner.
Move. Good job selling it too.
Your winner and new TNT champion, Mr. Brodie Lee, the Exalted One. After the match, Tony Schiavone goes to the ring, and they start to escort Cody out on a stretcher. At this point, Dark Order's also come out to the ring. Cody gives a thumbs up to say he's all good. I'm looking at a quote. Hold up.
We're in trouble.
Yeah. So we've got that. So we've got him on the stretcher. We then move to him and we've got him being taken out. You've got Arn Anderson getting attacked by Dark Order. And from there we go, and yes, it's a Christian Cage quote. Oh, that's even scarier. So as Cody's getting taken out, the Dark Order attacks Arn Anderson. From there, we go to this next one where Cody gets tipped out of the gurney, and the Dark Order keeps attacking. Brodie has tipped him off the stretcher and the gurney. He ends up hitting Cody over the head with a bag. That bag ends up being something that gets used later on. Brandy comes out to save Cody from a further beatdown. She gets taken out by Anna Jay. This is where we've got Anna Jay in her sexy all black.
Anna Jay just want a hug.
Yeah. And then, as you can see, what the remnants of what was in the bag was the AEW TNT title, which was the unpolished one, which you can also see here at the bottom of the screen. It was the unpolished, the unfinished title, completely destroyed, emptied over Cody's head, and over everyone else. So that's that segment there. You've got Evil Uno holding the current TNT title at that time. And then we end the show with pretty much this face and this title stance. So overall, absolutely brilliant. Oh, here we go. And I steal and beat you, made it look like I squashed your ass. You're not wrong.
Yep.
Do you guys think that Brodie would ever won the AEW World title? I think.
Well, we'll never know, but I think he would have a chance. But
I think if he was still alive, he would have been a contender for the world title, and he would have definitely made a name for himself. We would have seen a different position from AEW to where going into 2021.
Not only that, the Dark Order would be booked more better at that time too.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Alex even agrees he would have been the champion. He definitely would have been the champion. I think that they could have ended up relying on him as they did John Moxley. I think he was at that point in his career where he got sick of what WWE was doing and hence went to AEW, turns out, and got this push from AEW that he deserved.
Yeah.
He was having fun with the character. He was enjoying the character. And I think
he's actually having fun.
Yeah. I think he definitely had the potential to be the champion that carried them into over 2021. Obviously, we knew that Punk was coming in, or at a later time we get Punk coming in, so plans changed and stuff like that. But I think he would have been a contender and still up there when Punk came in. You would have probably seen a hell of a different dynamic to the way 2021, 2022 went about. So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on that. Now that we've gone over it, was there anything of notice from your part, from you there, Stephen?
Well, the AEW is basically learning the ropes, as far as the TV's programs and stuff at that time, And the women's division is pretty much in the rookie stage at that time.
And we were also in a point where it was COVID and we didn't know what was going on. Like we didn't know how long this was going to last. And lockdowns were in place and social distancing and all that shit, and masks, the mask mandates and stuff like that. Christian Cage being a role model for 13 minutes.
Hey, Father of the Year. Get that right.
He has been the Father of the Year. Basically, that is the whole episode of episode 34. The main event was a squash match, but it was a well-intended squash match, and it was a very well-executed squash match. It made the Dark Order look big.
But if y'all have any opinions in the chat, which match you want us to look into,
if there's an episode that you think we should look into, you tell us. We've already had one from DM. He wants us to look at one, which was, what match was it? It was the Wardlow Cody match in the cage.
Was the Stadium Stampede on Dynamite, or was it on the pay-per-view?
Stadium Stampede
with the Inner Circle and the Matt Hardy and all that.
Good question. I'll have to look that up. Let me do a quick Google.
Alex said was on Dynamite, so that'd be a good one right there too, because they're about the same when they're feuding. This
So
is
the
where
original
this is where Matt run over Sammy with the golf cart.
Yeah, so the second ever one was done on pay-per-view. The first one was done on a Dynamite episode. Yeah, so yeah, because the second one was the Pinnacle versus the Elite.
Yeah. The first one was the Inner Circle.
No, the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. That was the second one.
Yeah, that's when they turned babyface to Inner Circle.
Yeah, the first one was the I think it was yeah.
Was that the first one?
I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure it was on pay-per-view, the first one.
Because it was during the pandemic, and it had to be at the Daly's place, and the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium next door to the Daly's place.
Sorry, I'm just looking it up. So, Double or Nothing was the second annual Double or Nothing. Let me have a look. The first ever event to feature the TNT Championship. Nine matches were contested at the event, including the buy and pre-show. The main event, Matt Hardy and the Elite versus the Inner Circle.
Actually, it was on Double or Nothing in 2020.
Yeah, Double or Nothing. So we can't watch that as a
we get copyrighted.
We could watch it, but we could do that as a separate sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I saw.
Or was it Anarchy in the Arena?
Anarchy in the Arena came after Stampede.
Okay.
Yeah. We could also check out the first ever Grand Slam as well. Definitely. That's definitely something that we could.
Definitely.
As I said, this show is not going to go in order. We're not going to be doing episode 35 next week. We're going to be picking another one and going at a different point in time. We've got 5 years to choose from. We've got a lot of episodes. There's 52 weeks in a year. So we've got essentially 52 episodes a year to choose from.
Hey, Raz, check and see if it's on Dynamite on May 6th of 2020. Alex says it's on Dynamite.
Dynamite, May 6th, 2020.
Yeah, May 6th, 2020.
Let's have a look. No, that was Broken Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega versus the Sex Gods.
Oh, that's when, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, we get the and then we get Double or Nothing where they have the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah.
Just have a Stadium Stampede. So all in all, this was a good show for what it was.
It was a good show, yep.
I definitely don't rate it. I don't rate it above a 4.
No.
3.5. The squash match was perfect. It was great for what it needed to be.
Everybody did expect it.
Yeah, it set a standard for them with that, and it set up the Dark Order and Brodie Lee to be dominant, which was what they needed at the time. Because when Dark Order first debuted, people didn't really know who any of them were unless you were in that indie scene or around the areas of Philly. like in Pennsylvania, unless you really knew those areas and you knew those wrestlers who were coming out of Chikara and stuff like that. So, yeah. But if you guys have any other episodes that you want us to watch that you think that would be really, really good, just leave us a comment or
feel free,
join the ABJ
we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Winter is coming, 2020. There's one right there.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's another episode.
When we reach the winter is coming, when we get to it,
look, we can do that because DM wants us to watch the Wardlow Cody in the cage.
Okay, yeah, we'll watch it.
So I think we'll do that one next week. What is the
what Dynamite number is it? Is it the next
week? Have a look. So that is, it's an Atlanta show. It's in 2020. It's in February of 2020. So that actually,
we're still in the pandemic and all that.
Yeah, that looks like it actually goes back. Yeah, it goes back before this episode we're watching, that we watched today or yesterday. Sorry.
This is when Cody had the TNT title at that time, right?
Correct. So it will be episode.
No, it's probably in the 30s.
No, it's even
lesser than that. Wow.
Earlier than that. I said, what date did I say it was?
You said February.
February 2nd. February 19th. Far out. 19th. So, okay, for me that's the 20th. That's technically episode 8.
Oh wow!
Sure. Let me have a look. Pretty sure that's episode 8. Yeah, that's episode 8. So next week we're going to be doing episode 8.
We're going to do a rewind back to episode 8, gang.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
So we'll do episode 8, which is going to be Brodie versus Cody not Brodie versus Cody, Wardlow versus Cody in the cage. And then after that, we'll go to do Winter is Coming. So the next 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have episode 8 being up next week. And then the week after that, we will do Winter is Coming 2020. Which, if I remember correctly, is the debut of Sting, isn't it?
Winter's Coming, yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020. So it's Sting's debut, and I'm pretty sure there's more that we'll learn about that in the next few weeks. But other than that, not much to wrap up with in regards to this. We will be back on Wednesday night, 9:30, is it for you?
Yep, 9:30 Central Time for me, yeah.
9:30 Central Time. Eastern Time, it will be 10:30 p.m. If you are in Australia, it will be around 1:30 in the afternoon. If you are in the UK, it will be at around 3:30 in the morning. So we will be back then.
Hate to be the UK.
It is freaking hard to be a wrestling fan in the UK. When I was there,
morning, right?
When I was there, trying to watch Dynamite live, impossible, because you got to be up at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and if you've been up all day, you can't stay up unless you're like Tony Khan and snorting
up your nose like that, or
unless you're like a straight line of coke and keep yourself awake for the next fucking 45 days. But trying to watch a show live is damn near impossible. Obviously different when you're attending the pay-per-views, and it's a different story. But
I believe they have DVRs in the UK, don't they?
Of course, pretty
you
much
tape to
everywhere.
watch it the next morning.
Yeah, it generally gets replayed. I think it gets replayed at like 8 or 9 a.m. anyway on their sports channel. Over there. So it goes live, but it also gets replayed very quickly, so that way they don't really have a missed opportunity. Like they don't miss out on it. But if you feel bad or if you feel hard done by being a wrestling fan in the US, spare a thought to everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I know one thing though. The fans internationally, they sure go crazy because they don't have much wrestling coming near them.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Wrestling, and this is the thing, wrestling is a global sport, and with WWE and AEW both turning around and going internationally and doing these international shows, it's just going to make competition better. It's going to make everything better. It's going to give every fan what they need. I was talking with someone when I was in the lineup for All In, and they said that the reason, it was actually the All In celebration, so the pre-event. It was the pre-event before the show, which was the VIP thing, and he said that he comes across for AEW because, and he was coming across from Europe, like he'd come across from Europe, but he won't come across from WWE because of the pricing, because WWE's pricing is what kills them.
Man, it's mind-boggling. WWE's charging for tickets now. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Who would want to pay $50,000 for front row for Mania in Vegas for front row for both nights? It's
mine and ABJ's friend. He said that he was gonna consider going to the tour that they had, but for one ticket, it started at like $500.
Well, I'll say this much: the most I paid for between $150 and $200.
Yeah.
That's the highest I ever paid for a wrestling ticket.
I've paid a lot of money for a wrestling ticket, but that's because I've gone overseas for them. So
that's different though.
And even in my home country, I've paid a fucking shit ton for tickets. Like I've paid a good ton of money to get a decent spot. I'll admit, when I was younger, when they came here they came to Australia, when WWE came to Australia and I went, I think we got like 5th row or something like that. And even that at the time wasn't cheap. It was around $1,000 or $1,200 for 3 tickets.
Yeah.
And that's cheap-ish, but not super cheap.
Yeah.
But
when Dynamite came by here, they for 3rd row they want like $600 or $700 a ticket.
Yeah,
in that area there. But
I get the cost of living. I get that they've got to make money, but at the same time, you got to remember wrestling fans don't necessarily have money. So
no.
We are going to get out of here. So next week we will be back with episode 8. Which is the Wardlow versus Cody in the cage. We're going to have another Cody show. So it'll be Wardlow versus Cody in the cage from episode 8. And then in 2 weeks' time or a fortnight's time, we will have episode Winter is Coming 2020.
Yep.
If you like what you see, click that like button, click that subscribe button. We will be back on Wednesday for the post Dynamite show as well. 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Australian time, and about 3:30 in the morning on UK time. That's a hell of a lot to say. That is a hell of a lot to say.
Well, you can skip the UK time. Take some of your breath. I don't know if you'll get any UK viewers at 3:30 in the morning.
You never know. Thank
Yeah,
you, everyone.
You never know. That is true.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. We will see you next time. You have a
see you guys
wonderful
next week. Or see you guys Wednesday on the post show, Dynamite post show.